I was just shocked that I even found something like that alongside the road.
It was a grave marker found face down in the dirt on the side of the road.
An El Dorado County viewer spent years trying to find where it belongs and decided to call Kurtis for help solving the mystery.
You know, and this one took months for us to solve the mystery. The gravestone belongs to a man who died 81 years ago. Our viewer is upset, thinking this man's grave goes unmarked.
This is something sacred to any family.
A marble monument meant to memorialize a man's life.
It was just like right about here.
Ron Tarazowitz found the stone blackened around the edges, abandoned, dumped on the side of the road in El Dorado County.
I wasn't going to leave it there.
Making it his mission to return it.
I know if it was one of my loved ones, I would want it back in its place where it belonged.
5 years of trying, no luck. Just who was J.L. Kurtis, born in 1858 and died in 1934? And does his grave go unmarked?
There was times I talked to a little bit like, dude, I'm going to find your family one day.
Once Ron asked for our help, we scanned El Dorado County cemeteries.
And it's alphabetized.
Enlisting the help of the El Dorado County Museum. Volunteers searched century-old county records for anyone by that name.
Is there a J.L. Kurtis buried anywhere in this county missing a grave marker?
No.
So we expanded our search nationwide and got a hit in the small town of Miller, South Dakota. A Jacob Louis Kurtis, born the same year, 1858, also died in 1934. Could this be him? We learned he was buried here in the GAR cemetery in South Dakota, where we found the Kurtis family plot. But look here, Jacob L. has a tombstone. It appears we hit a dead end.
Well, I think it's marble.
Royce Ann Ricala Burke's family has been making monuments for 60 years. After studying the stone, she has a theory. Jacob Kurtis of South Dakota has a second headstone.
Because maybe the kids lived in one place, maybe they said, I want to have a stone where I live.
So we mapped out the family tree, learning Jacob Louis of South Dakota had a son named Hiram. And guess what? We found he moved from South Dakota here to California during the Great Depression. We learned before Hiram died in 1985, he lived here inside this South Sacramento home. And we learned his only son, Walter, also lived here, but he also died. Our trail runs cold yet again. Until our biggest clue yet, in Fort Wayne, Indiana, at a library where we found this book. In it, the Kurtis family history. Flip to page 147 and look, a picture of Jacob Louis Kurtis with his family.
He has a fairly pronounced nose, a straight but long nose.
Putting this photo side by side with a photo on the grave marker, genealogist Kurt Witcher sees similarities in the nose, the closeness of the eyes, and shape of the face. Combine that with the same birth and death year.
These are likely the same individual.
So we continued mapping out the family tree and tracked down a living relative in Butte County, Jacob's great-granddaughter, Denise.
Wow. Wow.
Seeing the picture on the stone, she says, sent chills down her spine.
Wow.
Stirring up emotion because she remembers seeing photos of this same man when she was a little girl.
I lived with my grandparents, and they had this vanity with all of our family pictures in it, and I played with them. I seen all those pictures.
She shows us the only photo of him she has left.
So this is your great-grandfather?
Yes.
And this is when he's much younger?
Yes.
Putting all three pictures next to one another.
The crooked eye, the pointed nose, the mustache.
With 100% certainty, she says this grave marker belongs to her great-grandfather.
I believe it with all my heart.
But why isn't it marking his grave in the cemetery in South Dakota? One theory, look at all the stones in the GAR cemetery for Kurtis family members who died decades apart. They match. Was Jacob Lewis's original stone swapped out? Has other family members passed away so they'd all look the same? And remember the blackened area around the stone?
You could tell it was in the fire.
You think it smells charred?
Yes.
She says Jacob's son Roy, her great uncle, died in a house fire in South Dakota in the 70s.
His house burnt down and him in it. And my father, Walter, and my grandfather went to South Dakota to claim the belongings, anything that was left.
She thinks her father and grandfather returned to Sacramento with this grave marker. We brought our findings to Ron.
In the genealogy book is a picture of Jacob Louis Crecilius. That's the picture. What do you think?
Oh my God, that does look like him younger. That looks a lot like him.
He's happy to hear we found family, ending his 5-year mission.
That's peace. It could rest in peace.
But one question remains.
How and why did it wind up on the side of the road?
That we may never know. But Denise knows where the tombstone belongs now. She plans to return it to South Dakota and her great-grandfather's grave.
I think that's where it should be. I think it's gone full circle and needs to go back.
And believe it or not, abandoned tombstones are more common than you'd think. At the El Dorado County Museum, they've created the Lost Souls Cemetery. It's a garden where dozens of abandoned tombstones found in yards or dumped on the sides of roads can go, so the folks named on these tombstones are never forgotten.
That's amazing. So when is she going to return it?
You know, she's not sure just yet. She's waiting for some time off work, but she does want to go back to South Dakota and return it to her great-grandfather's grave.
Wow.
So will you have 2 stones then on the grave?
You know, we still don't know for sure. She hasn't made that decision, but the cemetery has agreed to waive all charges. Whatever she wants to do, they're going to help her out with it to get this gravestone back to where it belongs.
Very good. Good
All right,
work.
have a consumer problem you can't resolve? Maybe we can. Call our hotline Monday through Friday or go to our website, cbs13.com/callcurtis, and fill out our form.